So what will you do when the party's over? So what will you do when the party's over?
Hey, welcome to Third Man in the Ring. This is Popeye Ray, your host. Today I got an awesome interview. I got the future of boxing. The dynasty of the Garcia family, Pita Garcia. Thank you for coming on, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, they're having gym right now, so you hear the mitts going, guys. But Pita, what are you up to today, man? Huh? I see you guys got a beautiful gym, bro.
Yeah, we just moved locations. We're in Moreno Valley now. We were located in Riverside for the past, I want to say, 10 years.
At your dad's house.
Yeah. So what happened there was we moved from Oxnard to Riverside. I want to say like 11, 12 years ago. My dad was looking for a property that he could house his own fighters.
Yeah.
He wanted to start getting more into managing fighters and stuff like that. So when we moved over here, he found a property that he liked. Had the house in the front, the gym in the back. And yeah, we were there for I want to say close to 11 years. But the actual gym itself was small. There wasn't a lot of parking. Days of sparring. I don't know if you ever pulled up on. And it was crazy.
Yeah, it was
in the afternoons we have amateur classes, adult classes, stuff like that. And the same thing. Just parking was it was insane. So we had to make the move to a bigger location.
This venue is, it's beautiful, guys. Moreno Valley, the Moreno Valley Mall, guys. You got to check it out. It's beautiful. This podcast is about you. And the reason I wanted to get Pita on here. It's because he's the future of the Garcia family. He's the future. If you guys, you're going to be seeing Pita for years to come. You know, Grandpa, I know Mr. Garcia for years. I've known Robert for years. Pita's right there, man. So you amateurs that are coming up, you pros that are coming up, we'll get to those questions though. But who are your named fighters right now? Not to say that the other ones ain't equivalent of being good names, but who are your named fighters that you got on board right now with the Garcia?
Yeah, the big name guys that we have right now is obviously Jose Ramirez, who has a big fight coming up May 2nd with Devin Haney. We have Virgil Ortiz coming off of his last win against Israel Madrimov. That was a big win for him. We obviously have Bam, top 10 pound for pound fighter in the world right now.
That dude's bad, bro.
Yeah, he's a bad dude, man. But we have a lot of guys that are kind of right there, borderline, about to get their first world title shot, or in contention for a world title fight. Guys like Raymond Morataya, local guy from Fontana. We got Lindolfo Delgado, who's ranked in the top 10 in I think like 3 organizations already. He has a big fight coming up April 5th. On his undercard, Chop, who's one of the younger guys that's getting a lot of attention right now. People were really, really attracted to the way he fights, his style and stuff. He's a local kid from right here from Moreno Valley. Arturo Cardenas, also, he signed with Matchroom. He's fighting April 12th on the Joran Ennis undercard. We got a lot of guys, man. Giovanni Santillan, kid from San Diego, is fighting May 10th. We got a lot of guys, man. We got a lot of good talent in the gym right now.
Does the Garcia trainers, do they train amateurs?
Yeah, my dad's here. My dad's here every day in the afternoons. We have our classes from 4 to 8 p.m. And my dad's here the whole time.
Let me interrupt you, Pita. That goes to show you guys that Garcia family doesn't think they're all muy acá.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're training kids, bro. They're training amateurs. They're not just like, hey, we're just pro, we're in it for the money. This is the love of boxing, bro. The love of the sport.
Yeah. No, yeah, my dad's here. It's cool. The kind of the vibe that I get from this gym is how we used to have it in Oxnard, where it was like, obviously it was a big location. Yeah. But at that time we had
type of thing. Yeah.
We had my cousin Cristina, who she works for Golden Boy now. She does her own interviews and stuff. KO Christie. She used to work at the gym. Her and my mom used to be at the reception at the gym. And then obviously it was me, my dad. We had a bunch of coaches at the time. But my cousins Pelos, Gordo, Bocinas, Donald, Marcos, Art. We had a bunch of coaches. And now at this location, now it's my mom still in the front with my sister doing the reception, and then it's my dad, me, my little brother Alvin. Well, his name was Alexis, but we call him Alvin. He's 17. He's barely 16. He's getting into it. He's starting to help us with coaching and stuff. Yeah, and then obviously we have our coaches Chepe, Felipe. Yeah. We have a bunch of
props to those guys.
It's similar to Oxnard. I get that same vibe. My brother comes in the afternoon. So there's 4 of us, and my sister's reception. Obviously it's me, my brother Alvin that helps us, and then my brother Payo. He has his 6-year-old son that he brings it at night too. So at night everybody's here. Mikey's been family coming to bring his son. My grandpa's here, so the whole family's here in the afternoon. So I get that kind of Oxnard kind of vibe to it, where our whole family's in the gym, at the same time, and helping out with whatever they can.
Hey, Pita, tell us a little bit about you, how you grew up with dad, grandpa, having two, a famous Theo,
Yeah.
Mikey, a famous dad. I know to you it was probably nothing.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you didn't give a second thought. But growing up, I mean, did you ever think you'd be where you're at? You guys, I'm not blowing smoke, bro. You guys are the top trainers in the world.
Yeah.
Your dad actually got the trainer of the year last year.
When we were younger, I don't think well, at least me, I didn't understand everything. Like to us, it was just normal. Like our family's just involved in boxing. Like that's kind of what it was. It didn't matter what it was, whether it was a family party or just we got together on the weekends because my grandpa was making carnitas or just something. It was always, we were either watching boxing or we were talking about boxing. But because we're young kids and stuff, we didn't really understand everything. Like, I would hear, that my dad's a boxer and Fernando at the time, my grandpa trained Fernando and, stuff like that. But I didn't understand it until, I got a little bit older. Then you fully understand everything, that my grandpa and my dad were able to accomplish. Obviously now helping my dad and stuff. But at the time, I didn't know. No, I didn't think anything of it. It was normal to us. Even now, there's not a day that we don't like hang out or we don't get together for whatever it is, a family thing or whatever, that all we do is talk boxing. That's all it is. So it's still the same to this day. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think I would ever be involved with it. I didn't think I would ever be helping out my dad with the way I do now, because when I was younger, I played soccer, I played football. I did box for a little bit. My dad wanted me to learn, and I had a few amateur fights when I was 8 years old. But I was really into soccer and football, and I didn't really care for the gym. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't care to go help my dad or to go watch or none of the guys. I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to play soccer and stuff like that. And the gym, honestly, to me, when I was younger, it was, all I knew was that that's where my dad was. And during the week, obviously, he was still coaching amateurs. He was coaching Brandon, Victor, Mikey, my cousin.
His career was already over at this time?
Yeah, he was already done boxing when I was probably, I think he retired like in 2002. I was 7. I was like 6, 7 years old. So when I started getting a little bit older, he started coaching. And I would be at, soccer practices and stuff. And every kid, they have their dad with them or whatever. I always knew my dad was always at the gym. My dad was always at the gym. He's coaching. He's doing this. He's doing that. So to me, I didn't really like it. I didn't care for it. I just knew, that's where my dad is. I don't want to, like, I didn't want to go. Yeah, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I didn't care for it. Until I want to say I was like 15. I was playing football in high school, and my sophomore year ended. And my dad had I think he was already at his second location of his own gym at this point. And I went there to work out because he had like weights and a bunch of stuff, and I went to go hit the bags and lift weights and run on treadmills and stuff just to stay in shape. And I honestly don't know how it happened or when the switch that I started working with some of the kids there. I grabbed some of the mitts, started working with some of the kids.
Is it fair to say it's in your DNA?
Yeah, so
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I just did it. I just grabbed a pair of mitts, started helping with some of the kids and stuff. And next thing you know, I was 17 years old, and they had me traveling. I stayed in the summer. I stayed for like a week with like 12 kids, and I was in charge of them at the Desert Showdown in Indio. It's an amateur tournament that they do, and I'm 17. And now I look back at it. Just the other day, one of the kids actually texted me.
You're watching kids.
That's what I'm saying. He sent me a picture of me working his corner at the Silver Gloves. I was 18 at the time, and he was in the finals of the Silver Gloves, and he won his fight. And he sent me a picture of it, and I asked him like, "What's the date like on the picture?" And he told me. I was like, "I was 18 years old. Fuck, I was like, who thought it was a good idea for me to be in charge of all these kids and stuff at 18 years old?" But
who thought of that one?
Yeah, exactly. So since I was 16, 17 years old, I just got to the gym, helped out my dad a little bit with the kids and stuff, and then I just never stopped. I started college.
I think it's fair to say you stepped up to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at 17, you're probably in there wrestling and everything like that, but you stepped up to the plate, bro.
Yeah, I graduated high school. And I was going.
Where'd you go to high school at?
Pacifica High School in Oxnard. And I graduated from Pacifica High School in Oxnard. And I started taking college classes, but by like the second semester, I was like, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, Brandon, actually, it was the end of the first semester. So I graduated high school. The very next Monday, I was in the gym in the mornings because I was in school, so I would just help out with the kids.
Yeah.
So in the mornings, I got to the gym. The next Monday, I got there early to watch the pros, and I didn't plan on helping or whatever. And Brandon was there, and Brandon was like, "Hey, what are you doing now?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to college. I have classes, whatever." He's like, "You want to help me out? You don't want to, be my assistant or whatever?" I was like, "Yeah, cool." And I started helping him, and that's when he got the fight against Manny Pacquiao.
And mind you, this is, to you it's nothing, but this is Brandon Reed.
Yeah.
Right?
So
this is a world champion, bro. You know what I mean?
And he gets the fight against Manny Pacquiao. So the very first semester that I'm in school, I'm going to school or whatever. In November, he asked me like, "Do you want to go with us to Macau, China for like, I believe it was like 2 weeks?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll go." I never wanted to do anything else, man. I get to travel with the guys. I started helping. I'm around my dad, my grandpa, all these guys, my uncle Mikey at the time, all these guys. Like I knew like this is.
And again, being around Brandon, Mikey, it was nothing to you.
Yeah.
Where some of us would have killed to even be in the same room with you.
Yeah, look, Brandon.
Not to mention other fighters.
Yeah, Brandon. Obviously, my uncle Mikey, who's family, but Brandon's the same thing.
Yeah.
He's like family. He's like an older brother to me. He's like he lived with us for a long time. So like I'm saying about boxing just being in our family, when my dad started coaching guys and started helping Cameron Duncan at the time manage fighters, he had Brandon Rios, Victor Ortiz, and a few other guys. Brandon and Victor lived with us. There was a few other guys, I can't remember the names off the top of my head.
Ortiz.
But Victor Ortiz and Brandon Rios lived in the house with us. So as we're growing up and stuff, Victor and Brandon are there with us in the same house. You know what I mean? So both of them, they were like we looked up to them. I grew up with them, like kind of like older brothers and stuff. And obviously Brandon, I'm still really close to now. Now that I have my kids and stuff, I invite him to birthday parties, baby showers and stuff, and he comes, and you know what I mean. So Brandon's the same thing. It's like an older brother.
You got to get Brandon to come on.
Yeah, we got to get him. We got to get him to.
So now you're in the gym. Are you thinking this is my career now?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm not getting in your personal business, but you obviously have done well. I mean, you guys got a carne Garcia now. Where's that at?
That is in Riverside.
Hey, you guys want some good food?
El Campeón Carnicería. They have food. Obviously, the best kind of meat you can get. Whatever, any kind of steaks and carne asada, whatever, ranchera, whatever you want. But they also serve food, and the food there is really good.
Yeah, I know. That's another story. Right? So you guys open this now, mind you. Don't take this wrong, Pita. I figure, they had the grand opening, 2 weeks ago, a week ago?
Yeah, a week ago.
I'm thinking to myself, I'll go check it out, because I wanted to support Robert because he came on my podcast. I'm not exaggerating, guy. This line was literally around the mall, bro.
We didn't expect it to be like that.
Huh?
We didn't expect it to be like that. My dad's partners in the gym, Oliver and his team and stuff, were telling us, they were like, this grand opening is going to be huge, Robert.
They
told us, they were like, Robert,
some we didn't know, huh?
They were like, Robert, we're gonna have somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000 people. It's gonna be this, and they just kept hyping it up. And we would talk amongst ourselves, and we're like, look, we've done stuff before, like where it's media workouts or just different things. And we're like, yeah, people show up, but not 5,000 to 10,000 people. The sheriff's department that was here told us that it was over 8,000 people here, anywhere between 8,000 and 10,000. So even we didn't expect that kind of.
And again, I'm not blowing smoke, Pita. That says a lot about your guys' character, the way they treat people. Even though they're echelon of boxing, and they are. And let's just be humble about it. You are. They could easily say, "We got nothing for you," like some do. I won't mention names, but they're very warm. They're welcoming. As long as you respect the gym, they respect you, and they're very. Robert signs autograph every time you come, and I know you'll be there soon too, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah. My dad, Mikey. Honestly, all the fighters that we've had.
I think you implant that in, right?
None of them have. I've never seen a single one of them, act a certain way with fans, or they're really welcoming, and I think that's what people are attracted to. That's why people like the family and the gym and stuff because of that. Yeah.
And on another note, I'm 61 years old, bro. I'm even older than your dad, but I dig the way you guys are around your grandpa. Respect. When Grandpa Garcia comes in the gym, it's respect.
Yeah, of course.
It's almost like a different attitude. Everybody kind of checks themselves. Right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have a father, grandfather, boo-hoo. I'm not trying to get that, but when I get older, I know my sons are going to treat me the same way, and I dig that. And what about your grandpa? What influence has he had in you?
He's taught us everything, man. Obviously he started all of this, but still to this day, he's here at the gym almost every single day. He's here every single day watching the guys, giving them advice, giving us advice as coaches, and yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be where we're at without him. But that sounds like, just something that you just say, but it's the truth.
No, it's
like
true.
To this day, he's helping us with whatever. Like just yesterday, yesterday was Sunday, and he was here with one of Mikey's kids. With Mikey's kid, and we were all here on a Sunday, and we got news of kind of who Bam's gonna be fighting next, what it looks like, and every time we pull up a fight, we show him a little bit of video, see what he has to tell us about it and stuff, and he's like, this, that. He gives us advice for everything, and not just in the gym, just outside the gym, just for anything. All the fighters that are here, they know they could count on him for whatever they need, any kind of little advice or whatever. A lot of the fighters, their dads will come with them when they work out, and you see their dads always sitting with my grandpa, asking him questions, just talking to him, just trying to see what he has to say about their son either fighting or just stuff that they're dealing with and stuff. So my grandpa is super important to the way we run things, and still to this day.
And even Senior Garcia, he's very humble as an older gentleman. He'll talk to you. You ask him today, he'll talk to you. You don't ask him, he won't say nothing.
Yeah.
And I dig that, because even though I was always in and out of trouble, I grew up with Ben Nira.
Okay.
He was kind of like my mentor. But when I was a little boy, I used to see your dad, not necessarily your dad, but Mr. Garcia there. And then Robert came in after. I'm like 10 years older than your dad, but I remember seeing them always together. And so I just dig that atmosphere the way it is. Pita, when it comes to the fighters, let me get a little personal here. I hope you can answer it. Where's your input as far as when you're in the corner? Because I know you guys seen Pita on these huge fights in Vegas, California. You see him right there. He's that third guy, you know what I mean? What's your input there? Are you just learning? Do you put an input?
Yeah, I think it depends with each fighter. I'm a little bit more like when who could I say? Like Bam. When Bam fights, Bam's been with us since he was 14 years old.
Wow, I didn't know
Since
that.
he was 14 years old, me and Chepe have.
Let me interrupt you. Did you see Bam's last fight? That was probably the fight of the year, bro.
He's a bad dude.
That dude is a bad dude, bro.
He is.
You know what I mean? Even when I know you guys as trainer don't like that when he got knocked down.
Oh yeah, that
still
was
got up.
tough, man. That was tough.
That just makes the fight that
No,
much more
yeah,
exciting.
it made the fight better for us. We didn't like it, but it did make the fight a lot better.
But
Yeah,
I'm sure
of
as a
course.
trainer, you guys like, what were you thinking, or what'd you do?
He got chewed out in the corner that time.
You know what I'm saying?
Bam normally does it, but my dad was a little bit upset, just like, stop messing around and this and that. Bam was like, all right, cool.
But
it's funny because
But to the fan up there,
they loved it. They loved it.
Oh my god!
But it was funny because the round before, Bam started to sit in the pocket a little bit more, and instead of moving, like dipping to the sides, he was kind of just sitting. And he got to the corner, and my dad told him, Bam, like, stop standing in front. I don't remember the exact words, but he told him similar, like, stop standing right in front of him, and this and that. And Bam just kind of looked at us. He's like, nah, he's got nothing left for me. Like, so he kind of like he joked about it the round before. So he goes and gets dropped. He comes to the corner, and my dad tells him, what did I tell you? He's like, all right. Like, so he's like, all right, I'll start messing
And
around.
I remember they showed it on TV, and you could see the smile in his face.
Yeah.
I know I messed up.
Yeah.
I know I messed up. And man, that was still a barn burner, bro.
Yeah. So with like Bam, that he's been here since he was 14 years old. Me and Chepe have been. Him and his brother Josh and that group of guys that we had at that time, Hector Kanahara, Jonathan Navarro, those guys. Those are kind of the first guys that we were able to help with, because like obviously my uncle Mikey, I helped with them and stuff, but obviously my grandpa, my dad are his head coaches. But those were kind of like the first guys that we started with. So we're a little bit more comfortable with them. So in the corner, it's a little bit different with those guys than with everybody else. I feel like we do give a little bit more input with them than other guys. But yeah, I mean, working the corners with all these different fighters, it just depends on the guy, the situation. And sometimes I'll be the head coach for some guys that I really haven't worked with as much or whatever. So it just depends. It depends, because sometimes my dad's not gone, or we have fights in different
places,
locations and stuff. So me, Chepe, or Felipe, or whatever, we have to become the head coaches and stuff. So it just depends on the situation.
Calls the shot on
My dad. But yeah, my dad will say, okay, this is probably the most important fight, or the fight that I'm probably needed at the most. You guys go do this, or you guys go do that. So I have been. I don't want to say in charge, but I've been put into situations where
I'm gonna say it. You were in charge.
Yeah, no, but there's been fights where like when Virgil and Josh Franco fought the same day, Josh had his title defense. He fought in Oklahoma City, and Virgil fought in Dallas. And my dad there was a lot of people that were telling my dad, obviously, go with Virgil. He's the future of this and that. And my dad at the time said, look, Josh Franco was coming off of a controversial headbutt, and the fight had to be stopped, and it was a mess. He's like, we're fighting, and the other guy's promoter, Josh was with Golden Boy, and we were fighting on a top rank card. He's like, Josh needs me a little bit more. He's like, I think there's more of a chance of something with Josh. So he said, you guys are gonna go with Virgil. So me and my grandpa went. I worked the corner, but I also wrapped his hands, and so it was like, to me, it might not seem like a lot to a lot of people and whatever, but
to the serious boxman, that is a lot.
So I wrapped his hands, and so I was like, shit, like this is, you know what I mean, like,
this is you.
And Virgil's at this time, he's one of the hottest names and this and that. So I have been put into situations where it's a lot at stake and stuff, but at this point, like I said, since the beginning, it's kind of where you kind of get used to it. You kind of get used to it. It just becomes part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you a tough question. When you're not getting what you want from a fighter, how do you guys deal with that? I mean, he's not making weight. He's not coming to the gym. Whatever it might be, giving attitude.
Yeah. It's tough, man. The worst things that happen is when you have a fighter who is really talented, has the potential to accomplish a lot in the sport, and they start to waste it away because of, like you said, they don't come to the gym, they're not taking their diet seriously, they're messing around, drinking with girls and this and that.
Oh my God.
It's really tough, man. It's really, really tough because this is a tough sport, man.
Who lays down the law? All you guys are just...
It depends. It depends. It's usually obviously my dad and my grandpa. But there's some guys like that me and Chepe or Felipe could be really close to, and my dad will tell us, hey, talk to him or whatever. So we'll do that sometimes, but it's usually obviously my dad and my grandpa. But that's the worst thing, man. We had so many fighters in this gym that had the potential to become world champs, to make a lot of money, and change not just their lives but their families' lives, and for one reason or another they just blow it, and it sucks to see that because since they're kids, they're 8. Usually they start at 7, 8 years old. They're in boxing. They're training, dieting. They're missing school activities because of tournaments, because of this, because of that. Yeah. Then on top of it, the sport itself, they're getting hit. And then once they get to a certain point where you're like, okay, we're almost there. Like you worked your whole life for this, and then they start to throw it away. That sucks, man. That's some of the worst stuff. You try to talk to them before and stuff, but there's just some knuckleheads that just don't listen, and there's really nothing you can do about it. There comes a point where you're just like, we can't help this guy. Like, there's nothing we can do. We just try to protect them as much as we can. In the ring, obviously in the corner, when we're working a corner, we know sometimes, okay, this guy's maybe a little bit past it, or this wasn't his best training camp. We go into the fight knowing we're gonna do the best that we can to protect him on the day of the fight. And just recently, we had we go to lunch often with Rudy Hernandez.
Okay.
So we go to lunch often with Rudy Hernandez. He'll invite us.
Ex-fighter Hernandez, his brother,
Chicanito Hernandez, and he's head coach to Junto Nakatani, world champ in the top 10 pound for pound, and Anthony Olascuaga, 2 WBO champ right now. And he told us a story about how there was a guy at the gym who wasn't the best fighter or whatever, and I don't know if he asked Rudy or if he expected Rudy to help him in the corner one time, and Rudy's like, what the hell am I gonna do with this guy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna help him, or I'm not his coach or whatever. And Rudy said that I don't know if he remember if he said that night or just the rest of that day, he felt bad. He's like, if something happens to this guy, like I won't be able to forgive myself. Like I'll be like, I should have been in the corner. Because us as coaches, me, everything I've learned from my dad, the way to handle the corner and stuff like that, I feel we give our fighter the best chance to win, but we also can protect our fighter better than most people.
There's compassion.
So Rudy said, he's like, I told the guy, like, I'm gonna help you on Saturday or whatever the fight was. When Rudy got to the arena, he said he went to go talk to the referee. He went to go talk to the referee, and he said most people wouldn't do this, or most people don't care to do this. He's like, I went and told the referee, as soon as you see my guy start to get hurt, he's like, I want you to have a quick stoppage. Like, I don't want you to let him get hurt. He's like, I'm gonna do the same in the corner. Don't let this happen. And that takes experience, and that takes a lot of knowledge, because there's a lot of dumb coaches that go into fights where you kind of know, you're like, damn, we're up against it, but then their pride gets in the way, and they're like, no, my guy has it, and my guy's gonna do this, and my guy's gonna do that, and he's getting hurt, and they don't have the heart or the knowledge to tell him, you know what, it's over here. And us as coaches now, I believe we do that for our fighters. I believe that even the fighters that...
I mean, let me interrupt you. When Mikey was fighting Spence, I seen your brother tell him.
Yeah, my dad. I mean, that one, my grandpa was in the corner.
Yes,
my grandpa was in the corner, and he, we were in the corner when my grandpa tells my dad, I believe it was like the 8th or the 9th round, where Errol was throwing a lot, and he kept busy. He never hurt Mikey, but he was throwing, and he was hitting and throwing.
But it's just
and
my grandpa. Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, he was just way too big.
Yeah.
And then my grandpa goes and taps my dad, and I'm right there, and it was kind of like, oh fuck, like. My grandpa was like, Robert, that's your brother. Like you need to stop this fight. And I turned to my grandpa, and I felt at that time like my dad's focused on the fight. My grandpa's obviously worried. Like, let me talk to my grandpa. And I told him, look, he's not, like, I had to talk in the corner with my grandpa. Like, he's not getting hurt. We'll talk to him right now in the corner. We'll see how he is, but he's not getting hurt. Just calm, like, relax. We'll figure it out. So he gets to the corner. My dad tells him, Mike, how do you feel? Like, I don't like the way you're getting hit and this and that. And Mike's like, he hasn't hurt me with anything. He's like, he hasn't. He's like, I'm seeing the punches. He's like, I just can't react. He's like, so just let me go out there and I'll survive it, you know, like whatever. So we talked to him and whatever, and we had kind of had to calm my grandpa down and stuff in the corner. So yeah, just different situations call for different things that we have to do in the corner. Sometimes you got to talk to the guys a little bit different. You got to yell. There's some guys you could yell at a certain way. There's some guys you kind of have to talk to, kind of walk them through.
Know their personality.
Yeah, so you kind of know your fighters' personalities, and you go off of that. But yeah, there's been some tough times in the corners, and you know, or really great moments. But there's really bad ones sometimes too, where you feel like you really can't help your fighter at some point.
But it's fair to say, Mikey went out on his shield.
Yeah.
He didn't get dropped. He didn't get punked.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a bigger man fighting a smaller.
He was just too big for him. My grandpa didn't like that fight from the beginning, from when they signed it. My grandpa was telling Mikey it was a bad idea.
That was
He didn't
Mikey,
like it.
huh?
Yeah, and Mikey was like, no, I can do it and whatever. So, you know, it's just a little bit too much, but.
The toughness in our raza. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mikey
I beat all these guys. Let me try.
Yeah, Mikey wanted to take the challenge and stuff, and obviously it was a little bit too much. But yeah, it just, you know, different situations, different fights, and we knew he was a bigger dude.
But Spence gave him props after the fight as well. You know what I mean?
No, Spence is a great fighter, man.
Yeah.
He's a great fighter. Him and his coaches, his team, they were great people after the fight. They you know, they gave, like you said, gave Mikey a lot of props and stuff, and we've seen them after that, and they're great people.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Pita, what do you think about this new league? Or let me start over. What do you think about all the belts? Do you feel we should have all these different kind of champions? I mean, we all love Suleiman. I love him. He gives me good fights, lets me referee good fights. But we have the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, NABF.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much of an issue. I think the biggest issue with the belts and stuff is that when somebody becomes like an interim champ, they don't make it to, like, interim should be, you become the interim champ for whatever reason. Let's say the champ is injured or the champ is whatever.
Yeah.
They make an interim champ. Like, there should be more mandated for, like, okay, but after you have to fight the winner. Like you
mandatory.
The stuff with the mandatories and stuff. I think that's where the issue is, because I think 4 belts is fine as long as it's those 4 belts. And if for whatever reason, like I said, if there's a situation where somebody gets injured or somebody can't fight for a certain amount of time, okay, let's create an interim title in the meantime. But as soon as the champ is ready to come back, they got to fight each other. So I'm okay with the 4 belts, but the stuff with making mandatory fights and stuff like that needs to be cleaned up a little bit more.
And I kind of cornered you in this question because this is where I'm going to ask you. What if it, like you said, mandatory, that's got to be a little fixed. Say your guy's mandatory to fight for the title and this champion, but you know that style is not good for him. You know he's not ready for that style right now. How would you deal with that?
So I think it's all down. I don't want to say all the problems come down to the organizations, but if somebody is given a mandatory shot,
okay,
and if the champ doesn't want to fight him, he should have to vacate the title. Or if you're the mandatory guy and you don't want, you're like you said, maybe that's not the best style. Maybe I can go this way. They should be dropped from the rankings. I think there needs to be stricter rules on that. And every
That's right.
organization, I believe, does stuff like that. Everybody's kind of associated with a certain promoter or certain managers and this and that, and you see that a lot. But the organizations just have to do stuff like that where, okay, you don't want to fight this guy, then you have to relinquish the title, or if you're the challenger and you don't want to face a certain guy, once you're there, you should be ready for anybody. But if you don't feel like, okay, then you're going to get dropped from our rankings, you can go fight for another title and give somebody else a shot. Because there's a lot of guys that become, Arnold Barbosa recently, he was the number one for Teofimo's belt at the WBO for who knows how long. He was the number one for forever. And he's barely getting a shot now. And it's good for him. He's made good money and now he's getting a shot. But it took him so long to get it, and you just don't understand why. Benavides with Canelo, the same thing. He was number one for the WBC, and he caused a lot of problems for himself too. But at some point, the organizations just have to say, okay, you're not going to defend your title against the mandatory. You have to leave the title. You know what I mean? But, it's a business, and they make business decisions.
The politics of boxing?
Yeah, they make business decisions.
And this is where I say, I personally been around boxing. I'm 61 years old since, 80-something. There's actually Ben Lira right
Ben
there.
just walked in.
But with that said, I've never seen corruption, guys. As God is my witness,
Yeah,
who
I'll
would
see it.
throw away their career to cheat? You know what I mean? Especially with all the cell phones,
Yep.
the cameras. But when people say, oh, I'm sure you've seen it. I don't know if they've ever accused your fighters of that. Who has he fought? Who has he fought? Is it fair to say you don't throw your fighter, a young fighter, to the lions right away? You gotta know how to build them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how do you build a fighter?
That you try to align them with the best possible promoter. The matchmakers are a big part of that. My dad has a great relationship with a lot of great matchmakers, like Brad Goodman with Top Rank, Kevin Rooney with Matchroom, Golden Boys matchmakers that have changed recently. But my dad has great relationship with all those guys, and it's just watching. You have to understand the divisions your fighters are in, and you have to know what guys are on their way up with them, and who's got a difficult style when they're young. Okay, maybe this kind of style or whatever, but I think if you see something that kind of makes your fighter struggle and stuff, I think the best thing to do is to get some of those guys out of the way early, because when you get to the top level, everybody's difficult. Everybody's a tough matchup. So there's like a fine line that you have to play with.
So you do study your opponents.
I do a lot. I know my grandpa and my dad really don't do it a lot. They'll watch video a round or two of a certain fight of if our guy's a southpaw and we're fighting somebody that's also a southpaw, we try to find another video of that guy fighting a southpaw too, like similar things like that, and then I'll show them a little bit. They'll watch a little bit and they'll say, okay, they'll know like the basics. Okay, we need to do this, that. I'm fine. I watch a little bit more. I believe I watch a lot of a video. I don't watch a lot of boxing, like just on my regular Saturday and stuff. But we have a guy that's gonna fight somebody, or we know that could potentially be somebody. I'll be watching.
Just to see his little weight.
Yeah,
right?
because boxing itself, like cards on the weekends. If I don't have anything to do with the card, if we're not, whatever, I'm watching soccer. I'm with my kids. I'm doing other stuff. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. So I do watch film and stuff, but yeah. So that's kind of what you do. You figure out, okay, this guy's this guy could be matched up a little. This guy can be moved a little bit quicker. He's got more more potential compared to this guy. You just have to know your fighters, know the matchmakers and stuff, and figure things out with them.
Have you ever had to tell any of your fighters, no, not yet? You're not ready for that guy just yet, or it's not a good matchup?
I never have, but my dad has.
They take it.
Yeah. So look, these guys, I don't think they understand, because the way we work, like no, but I don't think they understand, because even sometimes when you have to tell a fighter, you know what, maybe you shouldn't be fighting anymore, or you have to have those tough talks. What they don't understand is us as coaches, us as stuff. We make a percentage off of what they make.
Yeah.
So if we have a kid that has a lot of potential and could potentially do this and do that, we want him to get there.
Exactly.
But if we see that that's not there anymore, then what do we benefit from? Okay, this kid's really good, but we're gonna tell him not to fight anymore. Like, no, if we see that you don't have it in you anymore, then we're gonna tell you. And sometimes they take it the wrong way. Sometimes they think we're just being assholes, or we're just we don't believe in them and stuff. Like, if we saw that you still had something and you could, then that only benefits us. Like we're gonna make money. If you make money, we're gonna make money. If you don't, we're not. So like I don't. Sometimes they don't understand it. But those talks are really tough, man. Those talks are really tough because and not just the fighters. Sometimes the dads too, where they have this image or this idea. Yeah, they have this image or this idea of what their kid is or whatever, but sometimes that doesn't align with what we think. Like we're like, no, like he's not ready for this, or you know.
Put it this way: I grew up with Ben. Even though I was in and out of trouble, Ben doesn't allow fathers in the gym. So, with that said, have you ever trained somebody, whether it be an amateur or a pro, and the father's still trying to put his input, but yet he's never boxed before.
Yeah, look,
never been hit in the face before.
Here at the gym, we do have a lot of dads that help. I think everybody comes with their dad almost. Everybody comes with their dad. But nobody steps over the line and gets like, yeah, nobody does that because all the dads that are here, they really do help us a lot. You know, they do help us. You know, earlier I mentioned like the top names or whatever. We have guys like Virgil, who's his dad's obviously one of the coaches. Bam's dad is the only one that doesn't really.
Let me interrupt you. In the corner, I still see one voice.
Yeah. So
and then a bunch of voices.
We have Gabriel Morataya. His dad's his coach too.
That guy grew up in my neighborhood.
Oh, okay. We have Albert Chop Gonzalez. His dad's here at the gym every day. So most of these guys, his dads are here, but they allow everybody to work. Yeah, they allow everybody to work. They're not trying to step on anybody's toes or I'm this, I'm that. Everybody works well together. It's never been an issue. At least not off the top of my head that I can remember. We've never had an issue with dads here in the gym.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Yeah. There's a lot of coaches still to this day that don't allow dads. A lot of coaches we've heard.
And I know some fighters. I ain't gonna say no names because I love the fighters. They went to the top and then the dad stepped in.
Yeah, and it becomes a problem. You see it a lot. A lot of dads are a problem for a lot of kids and stuff. But we don't have that issue.
Knock on wood, no?
Yeah, hopefully we never do, but yeah.
Yeah. So if let's just say a guy walks in, 17 years old, you know what? I want to fight. I want to fight for you, Pita. Do you make them audition? What I mean by audition, you make them spar, you make them work out first, or how does that work?
What we do is most of the guys that we have.
Yeah, excuse me for interrupting, because again, this is the future of boxing. This is the future of the dynasty of the Garcia family. You will be seeing Pita here for years to come, even past my time. And this is why I ask for you amateurs that are coming up. You want to come with some solid trainers. My heart is always with Ben Lira, but you guys are just awesome. Yeah. It's an awesome atmosphere here. So again, if a fighter comes in here and wants to audition for the Garcia family, Pita in particular, what do you require of him?
Usually we get people that usually we get people that give us like calls on the phone, messages on Instagram and stuff like that about, hey, I'm so and so, I'm from I'm from this place, I'm whatever sometimes we get people from all over the world that are calling us and messaging us. What we usually do is we just have them send us videos. Not videos of mitts, not videos of you hitting the bag, because that's not going to show.
I'm good on the mitts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. None of that. Send us fight videos of you fighting in the amateurs. Even sparring is a little bit better, and we go from there. Because, like you said on the mitts, they'll make anybody look great on the mitts. But so we asked for
the last time I sparred in front of Ben. Ben said, "Stop! Come here, Ray." I walked over. He goes, "Are you gonna hit back or not?"
So we get people like that. But the best thing to do is to come. We have this gym and it's open to the public. You could sign up. Like I said about us finding kids with potential and stuff. We have amateur classes. We got kids that competing, kids that don't compete, adults that just want to work out. We have every situation.
Before we close, you're gonna say what the price is, the fees, the days, all that.
So we have stuff like that. So if you feel like you want to show us, then come sign up for the classes. We're gonna see you. If we see you have potential, you're gonna be training with the professionals and stuff. If we don't, then it's just because we don't think you have it. But that's usually the easiest way. Sending fight videos, sending stuff like that. Most of the kids that we have here that we've signed, my dad as a manager, me and Chepe have found through the amateurs. I found a lot of the guys, like the ones that from the previous, like Tanahara, Franco, Bam, all those guys. Virgil, I told my dad about a lot of those guys.
Oh, is it fair to say you found them? You pursued them?
Yeah, yes. I reached out
wow.
I reached out to a lot of them. Chepe has found a lot of the ones that have came, like Arturo Cardenas, Lindolfo, some of those guys from Mexico and stuff. He's the one that's told us about them. But my dad, when he wanted to start managing fighters, he told me it was just a coincidence that the national pals were going on at the same time around that time. So he told me, hey, I want to start managing fighters on my own and this and that. He told me, he's like, you should look for some fighters. So I was like, well, the national pals going on right now. I'll be there, this week or whatever. I was like, I'll watch, and I started looking up on USA Boxing rankings and watching videos and all kinds of stuff. And I saw Hector Tanahara. There was a bunch of guys that I found, right? A bunch of guys that I saw and this and that. And I told my dad, I think these are the best guys. Hector Tanahara told us about Josh Franco. Josh Franco was a small weight class. He was fighting the amateurs at 108. So he told us, hey, there's this kid, he's from my same gym. We trained together. We grew up together. Can you guys check him out? And I saw a video and the kid could fight. And I told my dad, hey, look at this kid, whatever. And the first thing was, like, he's small. He's only, he's a 108 pounder or whatever. And I remember my dad said, he's like, look, Nacho Beristain had like Juan Manuel Marquez and all these big stars. He's like, but he also had Finito Lopez, who was a 105 pounder. That's probably his best fighter. Yeah. He's like, tell him to come. That's fine. So Josh came, and when Josh came, Bam happened to be his little brother. So it was just a coincidence. Like Hector told us about Josh. Josh had Bam, and that was his little brother, and that's how they got to the gym.
They look like twins almost.
Yeah, so that's kind of how that happened. And still to this day, we watch. Like I travel a lot with our amateur team. That's still to this day my favorite part about being a coach is working with our amateurs.
Oh wow!
There's nothing will come close to that.
Again, guys, that says a lot about the Garcia.
So I travel with these guys a lot too. So whenever my dad tells us, hey, look for what, so let's start looking or check or whatever. Like right now we're super busy, so I don't know if my dad wants more fighters or whatever, but. He'll tell us every now and then. So all right, cool. So when I travel with amateur, I'll be watching, and when we talk to kids, it's not because we want to train them. It's my dad will offer services as a manager. If you want to come train with us, that's up to you guys. I don't charge extra for that. This is what I charge as a manager. I won't charge you extra if you want to come train with us, but do you need help with management and stuff like that? And so we still to this day still look for fighters and stuff like that. So if, most of the time we'll reach out to them if we think there's potential, or if we see something in a fighter, we'll reach out to them the majority of the time. But yeah, like I was saying, the amateur stuff, that's. I don't think anything comes close to that, man. So watching your kids win national titles and win their first amateur fight, and I get more nervous when our kids fight than when our pros fight. I get way more nervous when
that's crazy,
because they're little kids. I don't think they don't fully understand everything. Like they're just in there because they want to. It's fun for them. Like they love it. Whatever.
They just want that trophy.
Yeah, and then I know how tough it is, and I know what they're getting into. I'm like, and I get nervous. Like I get really nervous whenever one of our kids does his first amateur fight to when they're national champions and this and that. I still get really nervous whenever they fight. Like I get this. Once the fight starts, I always say, once the fight starts, you forget about everything. And you're just focused on helping your fighter. But when I'm doing mitts and I'm warming them up, I'm nervous. Like they don't see it, but I'm super nervous.
Is it fair to say, Pita, it's two different animals, amateurs and pros?
Oh, it's completely different.
Have you ever seen a good amateur not do that good as a pro?
It's almost as if they were two different sports. Because we've had kids that were great amateurs, don't develop as great pros, or that they weren't great amateurs, but they're great pros. It's almost as if they were two different sports, because anybody that gets in good shape could survive like if you train hard enough, you could do a 3-round amateur fight, because usually they're 3 rounds, 2 minutes. Yeah. If you're really little, they're a minute and a half. But if you're 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, or you're even a grown adult, and you train hard enough, you could do a 3-round fight for 2 minutes a round, or 2.5 minutes, even 3 minutes. Once you get to the pros and it's 4, 6, 8, 10, then you really start to see what these guys are made of. So it's almost as if they were completely different sports. And then there's, so like you said, the kids that are doing it, the amateurs, because they love it. There's a different, once you're pro, you look at it more, okay, this is a business, and this, you look at it differently. It's more, I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. It's more noble, I guess, when they're kids. So it's a different feeling even for us when we work with them than obviously with the pros and stuff. With the kids, it's more just, they're kids, man. They're having fun. They're traveling with their team, and stuff like that.
They're a star for the day.
They love it. They love it. Yeah.
So let me ask you the tough question. I hope you don't hurt my feelings. How do you feel about officials nowadays? Be nice, eh? Be nice. Mind you know, California is the most trained state. We have officials from all over the world coming to Jack Reese and Tom Taylor's training. But I know there's controversial calls, and I know there's things. I know we need to be held accountable. How do you feel? What would you like to see different?
I think what you said is a perfect thing. Where I think everybody needs to be held accountable more.
Yes.
Because if something happens in a fight and a fighter does something wrong, they're interviewed right after the fight. They have press conferences. They got all kinds of stuff that they have to explain themselves.
Exactly.
I think with especially recently with the stuff that happened like with Gervonta. I don't know if you saw this weekend. Nick Ball fought in the UK. I believe it's in the UK. He kicked the guy.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
So the guy's holding him. The ref says break. I guess he held him for an extra second. He lets go and he goes back to the corner because the round ended. He just kicks him. The ref doesn't even take the point away. I think the biggest issue is not just refs, judges too. I think there needs to be something where if everybody agrees that the fight was one way and you're the one guy that gave it to the other guy, there has to be something where you have to explain yourself. Or you know what I mean?
On camera.
Yeah, on camera. People have to hear from you because
and to toot our own horn, Andy Foster, the executive officer, Mark Ralia, the chief inspector, he says, you bring shame or embarrassment to California, you will not work.
Yeah.
You will not work.
That's what I think is missing,
And
more accountability.
let me toot California's horn. You know, we have the #1 judge in the world, Fernando Villarreal.
Okay.
You look at the box rec,
Yeah.
the ranking, he's #1 in the
I
world,
didn't know
bro.
that.
Fernando Villarreal. So,
Yeah.
again, and in California, if something goes wrong, something's controversial, Andy Foster addresses it right away.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think
that's all.
Hey, Ray
I think
Corona,
that's it
what
comes
the
down to.
hell were you looking at? You know, Andy will make us get on there.
I
can explain.
I think that's what's missing because you get with like the judges' scorecards sometimes and stuff, like you get some that you're just like, where did that come from?
What happened there, bro?
What were you thinking or what were you watching? And I just think they need to explain themselves, or there needs to be like a thing where they go back and rewatch the fight with or like maybe you know what you like a suspension or like just there has to be stuff. There has to be stuff because the fighters, if they do something wrong or they pop dirty, there's suspensions. There's, they have to explain themselves. They have, the promoters. If with the promoter, they're always in the front of in the media and talking. The officials and the referees, the judges and stuff.
Yeah.
There needs to be something with that because I think it's only fair. It's only fair. I think it's only
Mark Ralia, our chief inspector. He says that guy in the nosebleed section that paid his hard-earned money to watch a fight, and for you to make a wrong call or judge it wrong, you owe him an apology.
I'm telling you, this weekend, bro, Nick Ball turned and kicked the guy.
Yeah.
And the guy fell. The ref didn't even take a point away. He should have been disqualified.
At least 2 points.
Nothing. Just send him back to his corner, give him a warning, and that was it. The Gervonta Tank Davis fight. That should have been a knockdown or a disqualification. He turned his back.
We're not supposed to speak ill of another referee. Willis is a great referee. He had a bad night.
Yeah, he had a bad night.
And you know what? But the rule is anything besides the sole of your feet.
Yep.
It's a knockdown, and that's all I'll say on that.
Yeah.
I respect for Steve.
And a lot of those guys, like Steve Willis and those guys, they're experienced referees. They know what they're doing.
I'm counting Steve. Maybe he didn't see it with that good eye.
It's just,
It's
just everything happens so quick in the heat of the moment that you can make a mistake like that. And they're only human.
Unfortunately, you can't use that excuse though.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
But he says, I want to hear nothing
exactly.
like that.
But when you get to those big title fights and it means so much to these guys, you have to make the right call. You know what I mean? And it sucks. It sucks to see.
And like Andy Foster says, you know what? You won't work. And you'll sit down, you will have to explain yourself. You won't work for a while, but you'll get back in the ring, but you will not work.
Yeah,
so every time I get in there, I say, God, let me not even be seen, and God, let this fight be exciting, but the least I'm seeing, the better, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it. So, hey, Pita, with that said, I thank you for coming on, but I always ask everybody, on the side, if you had to go to have some good food with the wife, the girlfriend, whatever. Are you married?
Not married, but I have my girl I have 3 kids.
There you go. If you took your family out to go eat, what would you go eat? What kind of food would you go eat? Think before you say it, though. So fans want to know.
It's funny because like for my birthday, my girl's birthday, or whatever, I don't know how many times we've done it where we'll all right, let's go here, let's go there, let's go to San Diego for the weekend or whatever. We'll make reservations or stuff to nice restaurants. We always end up eating Mexican food. We always end up eating tacos.
Yeah.
We always end up.
That's food.
That's what we do. Like it's funny because it's happened. I can't even count how many times it's happened where we're like, and then once it gets close and we're getting ready and we're like, it's gonna be a nice restaurant, whatever. She just looks at me. She's like, I want some tacos, or
Guacamole with
yeah. So we end up getting Mexican food. My favorite food is Mexican food. So we'll end up getting Mexican food.
And when you're blasing in your car or going home, what kind of music you listen to?
Everything is in Spanish. Everything's in Spanish. Banda, norteños. Right now, the corridos. Right now, like the tumbados with peso
Get you in that
pluma.
mood, no?
It just depends. It just depends. You know, everything's in Spanish. My music choices. Everything's in Spanish. Sometimes the kids, like the amateurs and stuff, will ask for like certain hip hop, and we'll put it. So I know some of it or whatever, but it's not one of my the personal things that I like to listen to. My favorite artists, you know, right now is like Peso Pluma and some of those guys. I like them. But all time, stuff that my dad listened to, I listen to a lot, like El Coyote, Valentín Elizalde, you know, Los Cadetes, you know, stuff like that. But it all comes from my dad. It's all stuff that my dad used to listen to, or stuff that my grandpa listened to. My grandpa's a big Jose Alfredo Jimenez.
There you go.
And because of my grandpa, I listen to him a lot. From my mom's side of the family, I don't know my grandpa that well. I've only met him like twice. She didn't really grow up with them, so I met him twice. But I remember one of the times that I went to go see him. I don't remember if he was playing it or he mentioned it because it was a long time ago. I was probably like 12, 13. He mentioned Lorenzo de Monteclaro. And once we left and I got back home, I started playing and I started listening to it. And every time I play and I listen to it, now I think about him.
Yeah,
even though I don't know him that well or whatever, I listen to it because I know my mom's dad. I don't know him or whatever, but I play it and I think, he liked this or whatever. And so, you know, I listen to a lot of I listen to a lot of like older music and stuff just because my dad and my grandpa, how I grew up. My mom is more Mana, Hombres G, and stuff like that. So even that, when it plays, I'll listen to it just because of my mom and stuff.
Romantic stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but that's my mom's stuff.
And on your free time, I know you already said it, but what other sports do you watch? Is it always
soccer?
boxing?
Not soccer. I don't.
Soccer?
Yeah. Like I told you, I don't really watch. People are like, they get surprised when we say that, but I don't watch a lot of boxing unless we have something to do with it. Unless one of our guys can potentially fight that guy, or it's just something crazy like a fight that you're just like, oh, we've been like Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. I had a barbecue, I had people over, you know what I mean? Because I was looking forward to that. I'm a big Terrence Crawford fan. I'm a big Terrence Crawford fan. So there's some guys I will go out of my way to watch, Crawford and Inoue. There's certain guys, but most of the time it's soccer. I'm a big soccer fan. Just this past week, my grandpa got kind of mad at me. I booked. I'm a big Real Madrid fan, and I booked a trip. I'm going April 15th, 16th, I believe, to Spain to go watch them play against Arsenal in the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
That's a fan right there.
So I booked this trip, and my grandpa was here, and I told him, my tia asked me about it, and I told him, and he's like, you're fucking flying 12 hours to go watch a soccer game? He's like, you can't be that much of a fan. But I watch soccer, like every Real Madrid game I try to watch. I'm a big America fan. Me and my dad have gone to some of recently they've won.
So do you like our LA Galaxy?
LAFC.
FC.
So I haven't gone to a game yet, but my dad and my mom have gone, and they say the atmosphere there is sick. So I've been meaning to go, but I haven't gone yet.
So you're gonna show them a little love eventually?
Yeah, I have to go. I have to go to a game, and it's right here local. I don't know why I haven't gone. But yeah, I'm big into soccer. That's really what I do outside of.
So before we get off, Pita, tell the fans about, if you want, the fees, the dates of this new gym in Moreno Valley.
Okay, so we have our classes open Monday through Thursday. We really have options for whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you're trying to compete, we have classes for that. If you're an adult, you're trying to get a good workout in, you're a kid trying to learn how to learning self-defense. We have classes, we have memberships for everything. So our first membership starts at $125 a month.
Which is fair, guys. I know some gyms are $250 easy.
Yeah. So it starts at $125 a month. That's like open gym. You come in, use the gym for 2 hours out of the day, on certain days. We have memberships that are for if you want to bring your kid 2 days a week. We understand if there's kids that are doing other sports and stuff. So we have a membership for kids that want to come two times out of the week. We have a membership that for 4 days out of the week, and then we have a membership Monday through Sunday. We have different options for whatever you're looking for.
They fit all your programs, guys.
We have our guys that do private sessions. If you want to just book a one-on-one session with Chepe, Felipe, some of the coaches here, and the classes themselves. Again, beginners class. We have our advanced class with kids that spar every once in a while. Then we have our competition class that you're sparring twice a week. You're getting ready for fights, for tournaments, for all that. And then we have an adult class in the afternoons for guys trying to stay in shape, or even they want to compete too, but they're a little bit older and stuff. Yeah. We have classes for that. We have whatever you're looking for. You know, we're at the Moreno Valley Mall now. You could stop by. We're open from 2 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends we're open from 10 to 2, I believe it is. So you can stop by anytime, ask questions, check out. Even if you just want to check out the gym, we're here open. You know, you come check out the gym if you want and ask any questions.
So there you go, guys. And who could go back to the job site or school and say, hey, I'm getting trained by the Garcia, man. That in itself.
And you have my dad here. You have my dad here every afternoon. My grandpa's here. Mikey's here.
Grandpa, Mikey.
Yeah, me, Chepe, Felipe. We have some of our amateurs. They're starting to help us too. We have a bunch of people helping us, and we have big classes too. The classes are packed. But yeah, you'll get a lot of help. Like you said, my dad and my grandpa are here every single day watching and stuff. And Pita, so you'll get helped out.
Humble, man.
You'll get help from.
So Pita, if they see you at a big fight or any fight, can they come up to you and take a
of course.
photo?
Yeah, of course.
Get an autograph?
Yeah, whatever they need. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen a single person in this gym ever deny somebody a photo, deny somebody an autograph, or nothing.
Nobody's asked me for a photo yet. Nobody's asked me for an autograph.
I saw you taking pictures at the grand opening. Yeah, but that's kind of like, you know, what has been instilled in everybody here and stuff. The fans are the reasons we are where we're at.
That's right.
You know, the following that we have, the fighters themselves, people pay to go watch it. Like you said, the guy all the way at the top, they're paying to watch. You know, they're paying their hard-earned money to watch you fight and stuff. And then you run into people. We've run into people at the most random places, random places. We run into people that are like, hey, that's Mikey, or that's Robert, you're Pita, or you know, whatever. And you're like, yeah, how's it going? You just quick conversation with them. Hey, can I get a picture? You always, yes, always, you know,
they're
whatever.
humble guys.
Yeah,
and don't forget about your meat market. Where's it at? Do you know the address off the top of your head?
It's on Iowa. Damn, like El Campeón Carniceria Market.
Right off the freeway, guys.
It's right up. Yeah, it's right up the 60 freeway.
Right off the 60
across from the university here in Riverside, UCR. Right across the freeway.
Check it out. Some good food. They got some screaming burritos there, right?
Yeah, El Campeón Carniceria.
So with that said, guys, I want to thank Pita for coming on. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
And share this. Subscribe to Third Man in the Ring or Ref Popeye Ray. God bless, guys.